Okay. Hey guys, happy Splasher here. Good morning. So today, as mentioned, going to be doing a little bit of just chatting, reflections about time, and then also talking about the Matrix Resurrections and a little bit of franchise review. If you haven't seen any of those movies, there will be spoiler warnings, and if you've already seen them, then yeah, here, stick around for the discussion. And then also going to be doing some Mighty Party stuff, the Wish Shop for day 2, and then some Dark Tower right after. Thinking about the reflections of time, just kind of came up in my mind over the week because of, I guess, what my schedule has been like as of lately. So seems like I've fallen into a routine. I kind of know what I'm going to be doing from week to week at this point. So typically my life is more of, just wake up, come to work, uh, come back, hang out with some people, and then maybe might go out a little bit. And then after, go to sleep and then do it all over again. And so kind of know what my flow is already. Sometimes things might change. Maybe there might be an emergency or maybe, some event comes up and we're going to go do that. But I guess we're at least able to do that, if anything. I know that my life would be different for sure if I was, had to take care of somebody or in a relationship or anything like that. So, as of right now, I am a single person. Like I just said, things would be different if, I had a spouse or someone to take care of or married. I'm blessed in my life to know different types of people from different walks of life, and they're on their journey as to figure out how life is going to be like for them. So, for example, I know folks who are recently married, folks who are recently engaged. I know folks with kids and multiple kids. And so I kind of think about that just because of, what what am I able to do in my life? So last weekend, I was able to hang out with a friend who has been married for quite some time. And I guess they're pretty happy with their life. I'm not saying that, there aren't disappointments or anything like that, but more the fact that, they're pretty open and I guess they're accessible. That's what I'm trying to say. I also met another person who I guess they have like 2 kids or something. And it's just different about how life can work, especially when knowing that you have people to take care of. I know that at least in my life, if I want to do something, like, oh, okay, let's just go out to Europe for some random reason, it would be much easier for me than for somebody else who would be able to, or I guess wouldn't be able to do that because they have to worry about somebody's work or their kids having to go to school or things like that. And, I guess not necessarily the obligation, but just not being able to use that time specifically because of what they are able to do. So there's that. Am I a single? I am a happy person. Yes, I am, for the most part. I am a happy person. Just because I'm so happy to know that there are opportunities and things to do around here that I wouldn't be able to do if I were in, say, a different state or a different country. And am I half Chinese? No, I am. I am full Chinese, both Chinese mother and father. So, yeah, that is where I'm at right now. Also thinking too about kind of the motivations as to why I'm able to do things. So I guess if I were to take care of a kid or spouse or something like that, then I don't know. I guess it would be not necessarily scary, but just kind of thinking about where the time would go. So I feel like right now I have a lot of time to do things and sometimes too much time. And then there are some days where I don't feel like I have enough time. And that's only just thinking about myself. And so if I had to say, okay, well, now I have to, I guess we don't really think about it, but it's more of realizing that we do use time for things. We don't realize how much time we may end up allotting. So, for example, even doing something like Twitch or doing something like, pursuing a hobby. There are only so many time. There's almost only so much time in a day for us to actually do these things. But I guess the key takeaway is that life would be different for sure in terms of how we'd be able to do things if we were in a different, different relationship status, I guess. I don't know. I had a much better way to talk about this, but kind of just seems like, oh, it kind of crumbled into this. What do your parents think about your life? I don't know. I don't really speak to them that much about this stuff. I guess they say for the most part, if I am happy and I feel productive and I'm a productive member of society, then that's really all that matters. Or at least I think that's all that matters. I mean, I think they would like to see me do certain things in my life, but it's kind of more of their projection as to what they think life should look like. And I don't buy too much into that just because not everyone has the opportunity to do that. So, but yeah, so that was that. Um, I'm not sure about that. I mean, there's definitely different ways to thinking about that. It's not just so, oh, hey, they're not Chinese per se, but again, the motivations and the purposes behind why they want to do things. Definitely shaped by environment, definitely shaped by the people that they're around. So, yeah, I mean that's pretty much that. So just to move on to something a little less serious, as mentioned. So talking about the Matrix Resurrections. So I was able to see that last weekend, and I wanted to see it just because it's kind of like the MCU in terms of, yay, there's a movie coming out. Let's go check it out. I mean, I think after a while, when you've invested so much time into checking out those films, you kind of want to see where the story goes and kind of where the story ends, or if it is in an ending per se. So yeah, so I checked it out, and it definitely was worse, I would say, than the first couple of movies. So after watching this film, I actually watched the other movies just to kind of catch up and see how things were pointed out, if there were any callbacks. There were definitely a lot of themes that they reused for the fourth movie. Um, and I remember reading one of the reviews. They said that you didn't really necessarily need to have seen the other movies in order to watch this movie, that it's kind of more like a standalone. And for the most part, it is true. The only issue there is that the movie itself takes a different direction as to how the origin stories come out for certain characters or for certain things that work out. So, for example, now in the movie, Morpheus is not a figment of Neo's imagination, but kind of a it's a composite between what Neo remembered about Morpheus. Apparently, looking in the backstory, Morpheus dies somewhere between Matrix 3 and Matrix 4. It's explained in the video game, The Path of Neo. But yeah, that's the character of Morpheus. He's done differently by the new guy. I forgot what his name was, but I mean he's one of the main characters in the movie. They also throw a different explanation as for why Smith exists. So if you'd seen the first Matrix movie, it's more about Smith being an agent and being a gatekeeper of anybody else trying to escape the Matrix. Yeah, that new Matrix, it definitely wasn't as good as the first Matrix, if anything. I would see, yeah, probably an attempt to kind of continue the franchise. It's kind of weird too because that particular movie it ended in the same way that the Matrix One did. So in other words, the main character just flies off to the sky. They do have a little bit of callbacks to the other previous movies, talking about things like random thing like the noodle shop. So there was a noodle shop that apparently he eats at for a little bit, and it's part of his memories that he's still part of this world. When I first watched the movie, I didn't know what time frame the film was. Didn't know if it was actually in the past or in the present. There was a lot of dialogue that kind of had to catch you up to speed, but it wasn't as subtle as the other movies. It definitely did take a different direction too. The quality did go down in terms of the philosophies for the Matrix, and then also the fight scenes as well. The battles were way less cooler than the other movies. In particular because of the was it like the slowdowns? They did a lot of these quick cuts that they did in the film, as opposed to the continuous long and quicker battles that were in the first couple of other movies. So there was that. What else was there? It kind of almost felt like it was a musical, if anything. Like if you were to move from set to set, you would say, okay, hey, this is Act One, Scene One. This is where the character talks about their life. Oh, and then the battle scene, and then talks about life again, and then another battle scene. So it kind of felt like more of a mishmash of ideas rather than one cohesive story. Overall, I would say, I mean, I guess it's a movie. I wouldn't say it's the best of the movies for sure. Definitely better than 3. Probably not as good as 2, but I mean, they're pretty close. It's like 1, 2, 4, 3 in terms of ranking. First one is still definitely the best. But yeah, the movie just leaves you with a lot of questions, in particular about, oh, why does Smith exist? Why is he still connected to Neo? Why does the construct of the Matrix still exist if they were already freed, or supposedly already freed, by the end of the third movie? So that is all of that. Yeah, if you want a good time, just watch the first movie and just be done with it. The other two, they kind of devolved, and then they started just, was it just too much liberty in terms of how much power Neo has and what he can do, and focusing on the machine world, which for some reason still decides to cooperate. They both need the humans and the machines, and they need each other, but at the same time, they're still enemies. The sky is still dark because humans need to stop machines, vice versa. But I don't know. Total mess. Overall, I would say, yeah, if you want to check out the movie for curiosity's sake, I would do so. But don't think you're going to get roughly anything new out of it. So yeah. Okay, so that was that. We'll do some more just chatting next time around.